Hey!
What's up, fam?
Hey! Here we
Yo.
go. All right then, hello everyone.
Yes.
Welcome to the best stream ever.
The PetalsSilversteam.
So, in case y'all ain't familiar with our voices as much, hi, my name is NednilClan or Wildflowers or Your Majesty the Queen of Salad.
And I am PetalsSilversteam or PetalsSilversteam or Nicadavian Freddie Harrison George Washington DC Jr. the Third the First, whichever you prefer.
you haven't even said Silverstein, like.
I've said stream. I'm stream as long as I'm on a stream. It's
You're
the new
going to
rule.
let it slide?
Yes, because if I accept it, people will stop calling me it. So only on streams can I be called PetalsSilversteam. But anywhere else, and I'm just Steam, just in case anybody was confused.
If you say it anywhere else, then she's going to want to kill you.
Yes, like we do all of the characters in this series. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, totally not.
Not at all. We totally don't kill them all.
All right. We're going to be reading. Oh shoot, this is still unlisted, isn't it? I'm going to make it not unlisted. Edit video.
Good job. You have failed.
Basically, you want to explain briefly and introduce what Midori Magica is to everybody while I'm working on that?
Sure, but I'll do a garbage job at it.
Well,
Yay!
Too bad. Go do it.
Okie doke. Welcome everybody to the stream, and we will be reading Puella Magi Midori Magica, which is a fan fiction of Puella Magi Madoka Magica. We have introduced a bunch of different things that are not canon to the real story. If you haven't seen Madoka Magica and you plan on seeing it, it does spoil a lot of the plot twists and other functions.
Universe-related stuff.
Yeah.
I don't think the 3 chapters that we will be reading today have spoilers. Do you think?
They don't. No, they don't.
Right then. So they don't have to worry about Madoka Magica spoilers here.
Yep. This is just something we did for fun. But we decided after 7 months of writing it and finally finishing it, we decided it'd be really cool if we shared it with everybody. And so we're editing it. We still have a few flaws in it, so if it's not perfect and whatnot, please don't scream at us. There is mild language in the first 3 chapters, and I will be reading it as well as she will. I think it's only in what they say, though. So
the way that we're going to be reading this is I'm going to be reading the meat of the story, and then Petals here is going to be reading the dialogue of every single character. Even though my voice perfectly suits Mally, just saying.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's a specific reason why we decided to do this. It's gonna be a few months since we actually start posting the chapters and stuff, but there's a reason why we got a little overexcited and decided to start reading it. You want to tell them?
Yeah. Okay. So after finishing this, after 7 months of working on 97 pages of this one, we went ahead and wrote the sequel to this in 2 weeks. 102 pages in 2 weeks.
The entire thing, all within 2 weeks.
Yep.
It was finished about 2 days ago, 2 nights ago, 2 evenings. It was past midnight, but shh.
It was so worth it.
It was definitely good. It's super exciting, and hopefully we'll be able to share that one with you as well, along with and after the first story. But we just wanted to sort of mention that, throw that out there, that we're really excited. If it seems like we're not working very hard on it and you don't really hear very many updates on Midori Magica, I am putting all my energy and effort into this. Calm down. We have a team of editors who are working really hard on getting everything set up before we release the trailer, which has yet to be made, and then release the first chapter whenever that happens.
Yep, we've so far got almost all 6 of the refs done. We've got 4 complete, 1 almost done, very, very close to being done, and 1 in the progress of being designed.
So everything's going to be putting together very shortly within the span of this year. It'll come out probably. I'm just going to throw that out there. Probably, not guaranteed. It'll start to come out within this year.
Away from being professional, I'm going to go ahead and say this morning while I was at church, I was sitting in a pew designing the 6th character who's yet to be designed. So I'm just sitting in the middle of a church drawing an executioner with a giant axe, and people are looking over my shoulder like, bless her, she needs Jesus. So we're constantly working on it. That was proof.
The ladder crest compels you.
Yeah.
All right then, shall we get started?
Yeah, I'm psyched.
Yes. Here we go. Chapter 1 of Midori Magica Foresight. My awesome weekend. Reki jumped out of range of the beast's grip. She knew she'd have to get closer to finish it off eventually, but for now, she waited for the perfect opportunity to strike. The room seemed endless in height and depth, but there were many platforms of neon blues and greens floating around, or rather zipping around, for Reki to gather her footing. Winding cords made up the thin yet towering barrier, keeping the young girl, along with the witch, trapped inside. Had she wanted, she could have run, but at this point there was no turning back. Shock filled Reki's face as the platform that had been supporting her vanished into binary code. Until this very second, the girl had not gotten a good look at her opponent. The beast was at least 10 times the size of the girl, and was a jumbled mess of wires, screens, and rust. A piercing scream of static came from more than half of the screens. They were closing in fast on Reki's stumbling body. The monstrosity prepared to consume Reki, for at this moment the death of the girl seemed inevitable for various reasons, loss of ground as well as breath, and falling face first towards the beast. But this teen was no ordinary girl. She was a magical girl, the definition of hopes and dreams. As if her feet were magnetic, Reki used her power, bolted towards the large wires as if it were ground, and began running down the boundary. Before the beast knew it, the girl was charging at it with twin blades. What? Oh, whoops, there's a bit of a mistake here. Whoops! Supposed to say blades there, I think. What do you think?
Katanas is what she uses, so probably twin katanas.
You still got the dock open? Can you fix that real quick? It's still going to be a little bit before there's a dialogue, so hurry!
I'm writing dueling katanas instead. Ha.
All right. Before the beast knew it, the girl was charging it with dueling katanas. Unfortunately, the witch saw through her speed and crushed the girl against the wall of wires. Unnaturally white smoke surrounded its fist, and the mangled monster maintained motionless for a moment to ensure her defeat. But the moment was just long enough for Reki to emerge from the smoke she had created, and impaled the beast with both katanas. The beast began to vanish along with the wire-like prison referred to as the witch's labyrinth by magical girls. Reki fell back into the reality most humans are familiar with and cracked her back.
Cue grief seed now.
She pointed with her back turned to the black ornament that fell in time with her words. Reki jogged effortlessly over to it and gathered it. Her majestic ninja-like costume had transformed into laid-back teenage wear.
Last one for the night.
She ended with a kiss to the dark shell.
Nicely done, Reki.
Reki jumped, almost dropping the seed and quickly putting it in her bag.
Kyubey, you dick!
She said in a way that sounded as if it were to be a compliment.
I'm impressed with the stash of grief seeds you have collected.
He snooped over to her bag.
Yeah, well, my friend's hosting a party this weekend, and I don't plan on hunting that night, so I better have enough to last me a few days.
She chirped, excited about her little vacay.
I see, but that seems like a lot for just one night.
Kyubey observed.
We'll see where this weekend takes me.
She winked. The moment was silent before she spoke again.
I wonder how Runa's doing on her end of town.
She glanced at the moon.
I'm not.
Emma called. Sorry.
What?
Just Runa, I'm sorry, I couldn't help but laugh. Came a calm voice from behind her. Reki spun around to see the very girl she happened to be thinking about standing a few yards away.
Hey, Runa!
She turned with open arms, ready to hug her. This behavior was rather abnormal for Reki. Runa gave her a curious look, but didn't move away and just stood there as Reki hugged the somewhat confused girl.
I got a great feeling about this weekend!
Reki took a step back, waiting for Runa to ask about what Reki's awesome weekend would be like. Excuse me. Runa didn't reply, but simply knelt down to scratch Kyubey behind the ears.
My super awesome weekend!
Reki hinted again that she really, really wanted to talk about how great it was going to be without Runa there. Runa looked up, and hope flared inside Reki that Runa would answer, but instead, Runa responded with,
Huh?
Reki looked at Runa, half disappointed, half annoyed. She questioned if she was the problem, or if there was something insanely wrong with Runa. She chose the second thought, of course, and continued on with her life.
I was saying how I was getting hungry. Wanna grab a bite to eat? Oh.
I replied and stood up.
Okay.
One moment while I get into a different chair, because this one's making way too much noise. I'm sitting on an ottoman. My back's going to kill me. All right, then. Let's carry on.
Okie doke.
Reki realized once again how tall this girl was. She frowned, remembering how truly short she was.
All right, let's head over to the cheap burger joint. I guess price won't matter with your trick anyways.
She smirked. Runa only continued to stare at Reki. She eventually responded with,
It doesn't matter. Great!
The two of them made their way to the restaurant and walked through the doors. Reki could feel her stomach caving in due to hunger, or at least that's how she described it. They slid into a booth and pulled open their menus as the waiter came over.
Oh, hey!
The waiter acted as if he recognized the two of them. Reki responded,
Oh, hey!
She winked at the boy who seemed to be a little older than her.
Not you, her!
He pointed at Runa.
Anything on the house for you.
He almost bowed.
Of course. Runa's power just had to kick in now. Hey! I'm Her Majesty's +1.
Reki demanded recognition as Runa gave a subtle smile of amusement from behind her menu. Runa put her menu on the...
Oh, never mind, go ahead.
Runa put her menu on the table and replied to the waiter while moving her deep purple hair out of her eyes.
I'll have a cheeseburger. Make that 2!
Reki turned to Runa.
Can't eat too much. Gotta prepare for this weekend.
She gave it one last go, but the waiter interrupted her before this weekend could settle on anyone's minds.
Coming right up.
He smiled and quite literally skipped away. The two sat there. The sound of the other customers and bustling activity seemed to fill the air, which annoyed Reki but suited Runa just fine. Kyubey jumped on top of the table. Runa immediately coaxed him over towards her by reaching over and stroking the fur on his cheek. He happily sat down in front of her on the table and allowed her to stroke him. Reki sat there in silence, staring out the window. She was a jealous fool. It was hard being a magical girl whose only friend, who knew the truth, was that excuse of a human. But she always saw that Runa had it better with her powers. Heck, if it weren't for Runa, Reki would be starving somewhere alone. She wouldn't even have the friends she did at school.
Maybe I've been taking her for granted.
Reki looked over at Runa in a friendly manner. Kyubey was stretched out across the table, thoroughly enjoying a belly rub from Runa, whose attention was completely focused on the soft white creature.
She doesn't even care about me!
Reki shrieked in her head. The boy returned with the sandwiches and had left something under the table, under Runa's plate. Reki knew darn well that the little piece of paper was his phone number. Reki quickly dropped her envious mood when she noticed her sandwich. Sandwich.
Sand? Witch!
Reki turned with a smile, delighted to enlighten the mood with a joke.
Man, this is one mean sand witch! I shall defeat it with my magical powers! Hum!
She filled her face with meaty goodness and looked up for what she hoped was a laughing response. Luna blankly stared at Reki as she took a bite of her own food. She chewed it slowly as Reki eagerly waited. Luna swallowed and replied,
Yes, it is to die for.
Reki stared at her in disbelief.
Her pun was better than mine! Wait, was that pun intended? And does she think I can't handle fighting a sandwich?
She glared at Kyubey because it would be rude to glare at the person who just gave you free food. They continued to eat in silence. Reki didn't bother trying to strike up another conversation. Runa would occasionally give bits of her food to Kyubey, who gobbled it up gratefully. Reki had finished her food, and Runa was taking her sweet time with her last few bites.
So, after this, should we head off?
Reki looked up at Runa. Runa finished chewing her bite and replied,
Okay.
They finished up and left the building with the waiter boy signaling with hand gestures for Runa to call him. And they left the building. As the two parted ways, Runa turned back to Reki and said,
Have fun on your weekend.
Reki just stopped and stared at her for a moment before turning away. Reki went back to the abandoned and run-down apartment homes that seemed to have caught on fire at one point. She hopped right up to the top floor and walked over to the edge. She dangled her legs and whistled a tune for a moment before reassuring herself that her pun was funnier than Runa's and going to bed. End of chapter 1.
Side note, those of you who are old enough to drink, I've got a great drinking game for you. Drink every time Runa says okay. All right, we can move on.
Oh my god.
Okay.
All right then. A teenage white-haired girl lay on her bed, eyes dull as she focused on the thin clouds appearing with every breath. It was getting late. She sat up and slowly held her head in her hands.
What dream was I having?
She could feel the dream slipping away with her memory. Excuse me. As she woke up a little more.
Damn,
the girl muttered. She had somehow changed the temperature of her room in her sleep.
It's freezing in here.
She magically started to change it back to normal. The dream she was having must have triggered the change in temperature. She tossed the covers back and got out of bed. The wooden floor was cold under her feet. Like usual, she shuffled around her room and got dressed. It was going to be a long night. The quiet countryside of the city wasn't enough. She was running low and needed more. She transformed her ring into an egg-shaped soul gem and looked at the gray appearance. It was supposed to be pure white, but for the past few months, it hadn't been completely healed.
All the grief seeds I collect go to her,
she reminded herself. She put her soul gem away and hurried up. Today, she would be extending her territory, and she didn't care who she'd have to fight with to get in her way. She needed more land that had more witches. She couldn't afford to waste time anymore. She made her way to the highest point of Rosvarian City and looked down at the people below. They all seemed so peaceful as she stood above, feeling as if her world could collapse at any moment. She shook off the ever-present feeling of exhaustion and jumped down, ready to find a witch. Class had already begun. Reki, as usual, was sneaking in without the teacher noticing. In public, Reki would never really seemed to acknowledge Runa very much, unless no one was looking. Reki had an image, cool, calm, and collected, and if Runa didn't fit what Reki needed, Reki continued to ignore the class, but got annoyed when her friends weren't looking her way. Eventually, she spoke to Runa through telepathy.
Hey, I was thinking, you mind taking over the hunt tonight? It's been rather calm lately, and I don't want to miss this weekend's awesome events.
She looked at Runa with a smirk. Runa didn't even look back at Reki, continuing to glance out the window. She silently replied,
one night. What?
Reki lost her balance as she casually leaned back in her chair. Bang! She hit the floor.
Reki.
The teacher commented.
Yes, ma'am. Keep your chair on the floor. Yes, ma'am.
She stood her chair back up and sat.
Fine,
She responded to Runa. Class went on as normal for a half hour till a knock came at the classroom door. The teacher got up immediately and went to open the door to see who was there. Her annoyed expression changed to one of fake delight.
Oh, it's you.
She opened the door more and faced the class.
Everyone, please look forward. We have a new student that has come all the way from Japan.
Totally not cliche at all.
Homura! Please, warm welcome.
A timid young girl with green hair made her way into the classroom, keeping her hands on the rim of the door as she faced the class with a strange, unsettling gaze.
Please, introduce yourself,
The teacher encouraged. The girl's hand tightened around the doorframe as she seemingly mustered enough courage to speak.
My name is Midori Orakana,
She spoke. The teacher seemed unnaturally pleased.
Thank you, Midori. Please write your name on the
She stopped mid-sentence and corrected herself.
I'll write your name on the blackboard.
Which she did, then proceeded to guide Midori to an empty seat next to Reki.
Psh! Can't write her own name,
She whispered to her friends, reminding herself that she had a role to play. Her friends giggled quietly. She grinned. The strange new girl's face seemed to dim as if she heard what Reki had said. Runa cast Reki a look of displeasure towards this behavior, making sure Reki noticed, but didn't say anything. Reki gave her a look that screamed, "Yes, Mom," in an eye-rolling fashion. Midori nervously moved her hands across the surface of the desk, trying not to gain attention for doing so, but it did receive some looks from other students. Just then, Kyubey walked into the classroom and hopped up on top of Runa's desk. Runa absent-mindedly played with the fur on his tail as she paid attention to the teacher. Reki looked at Runa for a moment and lost herself in thought, completely dissing the new student.
Must be nice seeing exactly what you want to see out of that girl.
Was one of the thoughts. She stared for a moment, her eyebrows intensified. Look how you put that there.
So, do people see her stroking air?
She looked around the room, but the only students who weren't listening to the lesson were focused on Midori. The bell rang and hallways were filled almost instantly with rushing people. Most of them were very excited to go home for the weekend and were bolting to their Friday night plans, including Reki, of course. However, there seemed to be one youth who was entering the school. Her eyes were flaring blue with determination. Her hair...
Lies!
Is that still accurate?
No, it's pink.
Okay, it's pink now. Frick, you're gonna have to change that.
Just did.
Okay. Her hair skimming her shoulders in a lopsided ponytail to the right of her head. Is that still accurate too?
Yes.
Okay. Her outfit was the most obscure thing of all. A magician himself would call it magical. She stormed down the hallway until she ran straight into a student, knocking all of the school utensils out of the girl's hands onto the floor. The storming girl immediately changed expressions.
Oh my goodness! I'm so sorry. Here, let me help you.
She picked up one of the books before interrupting herself.
Oh my word, your eyes are gorgeous. Hi, I'm Mally.
Mally, not letting her eyes leave Midori's, held out her hand to shake the girl. Handed the girl she tripped. The girl was surprised in more ways than one. She didn't seem to notice Mally's awaiting hand as she responded shyly.
Thank you, Mally.
She paused, then smiled.
No one has ever said that about my eyes before. Really?
She was kind of upset that nobody had mentioned it before.
Well, some people don't know manners.
She winked, shook Midori's unsuspecting hand, and continued to pick up her books.
Oh, hey.
Mally looked up to find Kyubey approaching.
Kyubey, This is my new friend. How rude of me! I totally forgot to ask your name. Oh, it's Midori or Hakana.
She stammered. Kyubey seemed to notice something about the girl, and he walked calmly up to Midori and spoke.
Hello there. As Mally mentioned, my name is Kyubey.
He sat down. Midori seemed wildly confused as he spoke.
Pardon me, but where are you? Your voice comes from all over.
Confused, Mally stared at her for a moment, and then recalled that she hadn't seemed to have made eye contact once, even when Mally was practically in her face.
Oh, she's blind,
She thought to herself.
He's right behind you, the little cat guy on the floor.
Cat? She turned around to be polite to whoever she was talking to, but she was still confused.
Cats aren't supposed to talk, though.
Mally thought for a moment.
Well, he doesn't really talk. He uses his mind to speak.
Kyubey rephrased.
I use telepathy. Yeah, that. You see, Kyubey is magic. He grants wishes, and in return, we work for him, kinda. We get really cool outfits and powers and get to fight these beasts called witches. We're like superheroes.
Mally was so thrilled to talk to somebody about it again. It had been a while.
Wait, Kyubey, if she can hear you, then...
Kyubey finished her thought.
It's exactly as you assumed, Mally. Midori is a candidate for becoming a magical girl.
Mally turned with a smile to Midori, awaiting a response. Midori turned her head to look back towards Mally, confusion written all over her face.
Magic? I've always thought it was only a fairy tale,
Midori admitted.
But it makes sense, kinda,
she thought to herself.
I've never heard a voice quite like Kyubey's before. I have to say, I never once doubted magic. Wait, is this Mally speaking?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I have to say, I never once doubted magic, but I can see where you're coming from.
The young girl stood up.
However, I can assure you that magic is real, and Kyubey can grant you any wish you have in mind.
She handed Midori the rest of the dropped items. Midori still seemed unsure.
I'll have to think about it,
she replied.
Okay, sounds good. I was actually just on my way to...
She looked at the now empty hallway.
Everyone's gone! I need to find that obnoxious teenager!
She turned to Kyubey.
Have you seen the magical ninja girl? Would you be referring to Reki, the girl you made your wish against?
He tilted his head.
That's the one! I believe her location is a few streets down. She had briefly mentioned something about weekend plans. Do you plan to take this area from her? Of course not!
Mally began to walk towards the exit when she paused for effect.
I plan to get back what that girl stole from my family.
She smiled.
Midori, would you like to come? I'm sorry. My parents are probably waiting outside for me.
Midori responded somewhat guiltily.
That's fine.
Mally responded.
Do you need help before I head off? I'll be fine. I have a helper who'll come for me soon. All right. I'll probably see you tomorrow.
Mally ran off. Midori waved and stood there.
But tomorrow's Saturday.
End of chapter 2. Ah, geez, this is fun.
Yeah, I keep stuttering over the stupid words.
But I do too. It's okay. We're both idiots and making mistakes.
High five!
Yay! Wait, we're not in the same room. I'd high five the mic, but I'm not going to ruin everybody else's ears along with yours.
I was wondering, could you hear my cat, like, rubbing its face against the door, going,
No, I couldn't. I didn't hear anything.
just like, Whippy, I'm in the middle of something.
Silly cat. All right, let's carry on, shall we?
Yeah, boy.
All right.
Are you going to read the chapter name?
Oh, yes. Chapter 3, Fight or Flight.
Awesome.
Becky was hesitating. This was not the party she belonged at. But yet, for some reason, she came every time. Supposedly, this would make herself feel stronger, older even, to act in this rebellious, independent manner. She took a swig of alcohol and looked around. The music throbbed as the room shook and everything seemed dizzy. She had barely drank anything compared to most nights, but suddenly she was very anxious to leave. She saw the smoke outside. She knew they were cigarettes. It was only a matter of time before...
Hey!
Recky's friend, Synth, appeared beside her with her lipstick smeared due to what Recky assumed was her boyfriend, George. Synth held out some cigarettes to Recky. Recky looked mortified. The thought of smoke, the scent, the heat, and in her mouth, willingly, she couldn't bear it. Recky stood up quickly.
Nah, I'ma get some more to drink.
She tried to hide her sickness. Synth shrugged it off and went to find George.
What is causing this?
She looked around again. Oh my god, okay, I'm sorry.
Recky!
Wait, I'm sorry.
In a way, yes.
Oh, dang! Shoot!
Okay.
Okay, alright. Sorry, let me compose myself. Carry on.
Alright. Recky! You okay?
It was Benjamin. He put his arm around her in an attempt to support her in his own way.
Did you need some water?
Recky couldn't look at him, but she knew she did. She nodded and he left her on a couch while he went to find her a drink.
Some weekend.
She laughed at herself, half in pity. The couch was surrounded by couples, and not in a cute way. Recky sat annoyed and slightly jealous of the people around her until she caught a glimpse of something that made her stomach twist. Mally. Across the street of the house, Mally was looking both ways before crossing. Recky jumped to her feet. She was in no condition. Heck, this place was in no condition to be blown up by magical girls. She knew Mally wouldn't listen, and she knew she couldn't win. There was only one choice left. Recky ran. The back door slid open, and Recky didn't even take the time to shut it. She almost slid through the mud before she got herself and continued over the fence. Cynthia noticed her jump over the fence. That was way too high for her to jump. Cynthia put down the drinks and cigarettes. Mally rang the doorbell and a teenage boy answered.
Hey, did we order entertainment?
He yelled back into the room of people, yet his eyes never left Mally. Before anyone could respond, Mally had slammed the door open and was scanning the room. She quickly realized that Recky was not there and turned to Kyubey.
Now where is she? She's cutting through backyards. So she chose the hard way, huh?
Mally paused to imitate a Western sheriff's voice, and then continued on the chase scene. Recky hopped fence after fence, but was quickly running out of energy. There was nowhere to hide if Kyubey was helping Mally, so Recky was clearly going to have to use magic. As she hopped the next fence, a mask covered her nose and lower face, and a dark blue dress clothed her. When she landed, she put her hands on the ground and focused. Not a moment later, she was gliding through the grass as if the whole world had been tilted for her benefit. Midori was sitting on an armless chair in the back patio of her new home. She sat and breathed in the fresh air and let the sounds of the wind blowing through the trees wash over her weary mind. It was so peaceful out. Recky staggered on top of the fence and looked up to see where Mally was in the yards above her. Her feet were firmly placed on the fence gate, as if it were ground, and quickly walked up it. Without looking, she hopped down, not accounting for somebody already occupying the yard which she had needed to land in. She slammed straight into the chair that Midori was sitting in, removing it from underneath her. Both chair and magical girl collided with the fence on the opposite side of the yard. Ricky ached. Mally was a few backyards away, but was catching up quickly. Ricky tried her best to apologize to the girl, but was too rushed. She had to run. She got herself free from the chair and tried to walk on the floor again, but it was no use. What everyone knew as the ground was now a wall to her, and her only floor was the fence. She couldn't change gravity's direction anymore because of Mally, who got closer and limited her ability. If she jumped off the fence, she'd fall into Lake Michigan. Gravity herself was now holding her hostage. Side note, it says no instead of now.
Yeah, I just corrected it.
Yeah.
Midori, are you all right?
Mally ran over to Midori's aid. Midori sat up and rubbed her arm.
Yeah, I'm fine. Wait, Mally? No time to explain. That mean girl who beat up your innocent chair. Oh, come on!
Ricky interrupted, feeling unfairly portrayed.
Is none other than the girl who stole from me.
Mally smiled, knowing she had trapped Ricky. Ricky, on the other hand, ignored Mally's nonsense and started contemplating whether it was worth it to jump down to the next fence, possibly breaking both of her legs.
Who? What?
Midori sputtered, greatly confused. The other girl's voice sounded familiar as well. Mally pulled out her magic wand, of which each end had a spiked ball hanging from the metal chain. Wait, is this still accurate? Each end?
I mean, I guess she could do that, but it's not really. I don't use her like that. She could if she wanted to. She'd just have to copy and paste the same thing on either side.
I mean, it is a magical weapon after all. So if you want to, you can write a note real quick and go back and fix it if you think that's necessary.
I'll make a
I don't care
note
either way.
Rethink it over later, but I'm pretty sure she should be able to do that.
Don't mind us. Mally pulled out her magic wand, of which each end had a spiked ball hanging from it with a metal chain. Mally spun the double-sided mace above her head and broke it into two. She slowly approached the stranded Ricky.
Let's try this one more time.
Ricky had very few options.
I told you. I don't remember what you're talking about.
Ricky tried to explain herself again, but there was no hope. She was going to have to fight this out.
I want it back.
Mally smashed a part of the fence, removing area for Ricky to stand.
Whatever it is, it's gone!
Ricky pulled out her swords, but knew it was useless. Mally's wish prevented Ricky from winning.
I don't want to fight. Then give it here.
It was no use. Mally was certain Ricky still had it.
Fine. I'll give you all I got.
Ricky charged Mally with all the power she had. If she could just land one hit on Mally's soul gem, it would be over. But where?
Where is her soul gem?
Ricky jabbed her katanas at Mally, but for every swing, Mally defended with ease. Ricky was running out of room fast as Mally backed her to the corner of the yard, but she was not going to let it end here. Not like this. Not to her. Ricky backflipped into the corner, but mid-flip sent two shurikens straight from Midori. Mally quickly blocked, but was not prepared for Ricky's next move of desperation. Ricky set off a smoke bomb on Mally, causing the girl to gag. Ricky was then able to swiftly conduct the smoke onto Mally alone. Ricky prepared to block Mally out, but barely noticed in time that Mally had already retreated and repositioned herself on the opposite side of Ricky, who was now shooting bladed cards. Excuse me. Wait, did I skip a page? Did I accidentally skip a page?
You skipped a paragraph.
Frick. Shoot. Snip it. Send it to me, quick!
Oh, okay. Well, actually, why snip it? I'll just copy and paste. That'll go faster.
Sure.
There.
Thanks. It showed the nickname for a second. All right. The game of hit and miss continued between the two of them until Mally had destroyed all but one board of the fence. Reki just stood there.
I suppose you want me to walk the plank now, huh, Captain? I don't listen. Oh, sorry. That needs a question mark. Okay. I suppose you want me to walk the plank now, huh? Captain, I don't listen to anyone.
Isn't it Captain? It's a title? Isn't she saying it as a title? Like, Captain, I don't listen to anyone?
Oh, yeah, thank you. I can't read my own. It needs to be dashed then.
Probably.
Yeah, I'll fix that. Okay. Captain, I don't listen to anyone.
Mally was offended that Reki had caught on to exactly what she was going to say.
No, I was gonna make a way cooler threat.
Mally insisted.
Sure. Oh, sorry.
It's alright.
Sure. Think fast.
Reki sent a shuriken straight for Mally's hat, where Reki now knew the soul gem was located. Mally quickly ducked and began to charge at the lone fence board, but realized it was now vacant. Reki had jumped. Mally looked beyond the fence board to see Reki land outside of range of her power and in the giant lake. Mally stepped back.
Your fence could use some new paint.
Mally smiled, embarrassed and worried of Midori's response.
What happened? Are you all right? And what's this about my fence?
Midori asked, confused.
And who was the other girl? I fought this mean girl. Yes, I'm fine. Thanks for asking. Your fence, well, it's seen better days, and that girl was Reki.
She turned to Kyubey.
Right? That's her name? Yes.
Kyubey responded.
She stole something of my mom's a while ago and ran off. I've been in search of it ever since. I'm sure she still has it.
She looked over the lake. There was a noise coming from inside the house.
That'd be my dad,
Midori explained, hinting that Mally should probably make herself scarce.
Oh.
Mally looked at the house and back at Midori.
Sorry to leave you with, well, this. I'll see you tomorrow. She
ran off in the direction of Reki, but was not going to go after her now. She'd wait till morning. End of chapter 3! Yay, we did it!
We did it! Yay, Loisimo! We did. Okay, I'm gonna stop being Dora.
It's 3:55. 5 minutes. No, never mind. 4 minutes till my alarm goes off and I have to tell Drew to go to bed.
Side note, I said Dora, so I have to say Medora.
Oh no!
Because that's Medorable.
What did y'all think? Now I'm going to pay attention to the chat.
Yeah! Who's your favorite character? And what do you like? What do you not like?
Might as well show off some of the character refs, just so they can actually see who they've been listening about.
Oh, Pyro was here! Hey, Pyro!
I noticed it out of the corner of my eye, but didn't want to say anything. So I'll just open up the single image of Midori. Nah, never mind. Okay, here's the whole reference. This is Midori, obviously. Most of y'all have probably seen all these characters before. So, thank you for the compliment, Pyro.
Are you guys interested in hearing more somewhere in the future? Would you actually be interested in reading the story? Like, although right now it kind of seems pretty happy and lighthearted, I promise we have some interesting twists that aren't canon to the actual story.
And it gets sad.
Yeah.
One is Mally, obviously. Thanks for ruining our fence.
Yeah.
Yes, sure is happy and lighthearted. Ha!
Yeah!
Yes. This one's Reki, obviously, because it says her name up there. And then we have the best character, undisputedly.
Totally.
Probably not the most boring one out of all of them, if you don't count her backstory.
That's exciting.
That's one way to put it. All right, then. Is there anything else we need to say? Checks the checklist.
Yep, there's one thing that you're gonna do.
Yep. Thank y'all for joining so much. And if y'all want more out of us, don't worry. I'm going to be posting a video that I started making back in August. I'll be posting it like, I don't know, maybe in a half an hour or something.
Hi.
No! Go away!
Aw. Hi there, Callie.
Anyways, thank y'all so much for joining.
Oh,
Hi.
to answer your question,
This is Triple.
Pyro.
I killed Mario Craft. He's dead now.
No.
What?
We're busy.
Busy what?
Answering questions.
Okay.
You're interrupting Abby. Petals. Frick. I'm sorry.
Nah, you're fine. I think Ned had mentioned making this video in particular going private or unlisted.
It will be private. I can, because you're a friend of a friend, I can send you let you have access to it if you really want to. So.
And I mean, I bet I could give you permission to read the whole thing if you really wanted, Pyro, because you're Pyro.
We'll talk about it. All right, then. Of course.
No! I've been revealed!
And then, if it's funny, then I need to know.
You should be on the stream watching instead. All right, then.
Thank you all so much!
Should we wait for any more potential questions before we sign off?
Sure, you guys have 10 seconds. No, I'm kidding. Yeah, I know. The minute they write this question, it's gonna take like an entire 20 seconds before we actually see it and read it out loud and answer it. It's gonna be a full-on delay.
No, questions about the story. Yeah.
We could, if we really wanted, to give a sneak peek of the white-haired girl.
Oh, see, we haven't even shown the editors that yet.
Yeah, we could give a nice sneak peek of the girl the first one to cuss, which is ironic because we have Reki.
No, Reki was the first one to cuss if you count the word dick.
I don't necessarily count it. It's insulting. But I mean, it's not
sensitive to a lot of folks. Anyways, I have the reference minus the weapon, the work in progress that you sent me before downloaded. So here's the other character revealed for the first time to people. There she is. Yay!
Yay! It's Nyx, the Twix bar. Yes, she has the most revealing outfit. Isn't that great?
Fantastic.
Yeah, boy. She's so majestic.
Very. You did a good job designing her. Thank you for doing it for free.
I think it's funny that she's older than all the other ones, but...
Well, what about the other one?
Well, yeah, we have her too, but... Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah, so...
Yeah, we ended up changing the entire concept of what she would look like, royal stocking.
Yeah, we decided, due to her wish that we're not going to spoil, this outfit suited her more.
As well as the previous design, although sort of fitted her, at the same time it didn't. When I was able to gain access to the character, because she didn't used to belong to me, she used to belong to a friend of mine, and now I have ownership of her. We were able to make various decisions about her, of general appearance and other things about her. Basically everything. I'm sorry.
Yeah, her original design was really lovely. I really liked it, but it was more ballerina themed, and we decided, with once we took over the characters halfway through, we kind of made her pretty intense and less graceful.
Intense in the first place,
Oh,
though.
most definitely.
I mean, in the next chapter.
Yeah, so we thought that something less graceful would suit her.
Not like she's clumsy in particular or anything, but ballerinas just sort of gives a bit of a more peaceful vibe, I feel, and she's not very peaceful person.
I think the word I was thinking was elegant, and I see her more on the not giving a crab nugget about anything side than,
yeah, that's
I
pretty
should
accurate.
give manners.
Pretty accurate.
She becomes more important later.
Yee. Nyx's weapon is a hammer. I still have yet to design it. I'm supposed to be doing that.
Yeah, go now.
Once we end the stream, shush.
And then we have one more kind of main character-ish, important character to be revealed later on throughout the chapters.
Yes. So y'all stay tuned. Yeah.
I hope you guys enjoyed the reading.
Thank y'all for joining, and everybody mustn't forget.
You must never forget that being Maguka
is suffering. Bye, everyone.